Morning, this is Reverend Pam Geagan here from the Center for Spiritual Living, Pleasant Valley in Camarillo, California, and it's wonderful to be with you today. These are our Monday through Friday meditations, and these meditations are specifically focused on wholehearted and wholeness living from your wholeness and your wholeheartedness. And it's a very for those who live here, Santa Ana winds are back. It's the normal time of year for the Santa Ana east winds to come, and it's really, really windy. It's all I can tell you. It's part of living. So anyway, and so in this series this week, or today specifically, we are concentrating on self compassion. It's so important and it goes along with loving yourself. And so, before I even begin, I want to tell you what that self compassion is also tied very, very strongly to perfectionism and shame. And so, to become self compassionate, we have to release the shame, the guilt, all the things that hold us back from our wholeness right here and right now. So, in this moment, what we're going to do is connect first, and we're going to take those and then relax in. And then I'll be telling you a little bit about how to be self compassionate, how to come from that highest self. So, we're going to take our energy wands and we're going to just see that energy coming in and through and down our crown chakra. Oh, and then we're going to know that that light that goes all the way down, 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 and we'll be relaxing all those areas in just a minute. But we're going to connect first. Goes all the way down, down to the Middle Earth. And that Middle Earth can look like whatever you want it to look like. But this wonderful light that is in and through and all around us, expressing as us, goes all the way to the Middle Earth, and it's anchored there. And you can anchor it on a tree branch. You can anchor it on anything you want. Someone can be holding it there for you like balloons, when like a like the balloons. Anyway, so it's anchored there, and then we're just going to breathe all of that energy all the way back up with the and connect to the heaven world, as I say, all the way down and ground us to that Middle Earth, because we're here for that experience of being in this third dimension, and then also for experiencing the awakened idea of everything we are. So the dream state is the next dimension. It is the fourth dimension, and it is very, very important, by the way. So let us just breathe in with, I use God, use Elohim, Buddha, Krishna, whatever it is the thing itself, and breathing in with God is. And on the out breath, I am. And two more silently. Now we're just going to relax in. Feel that energy coming down from the crown chakra, relaxing the head and then the jaws, relaxing the eyes and the third eye, your intuitive eye, and then going down and relaxing the jaws and the throat, going back down across the shoulders, down the arms, down the elbows, down the lower arms, down the wrists, down the hands, and feel that energy actually flowing through the hands. And it may feel like electrical energy that you're feeling, or currents coming from your fingers. Your whole body is an energy wand, but I call these energy wands. And so then now feel that energy coming right back up the hands, the wrists, the shoulders, up through the shoulders and down the back, vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae. Just relaxing in and wrapping around into the heart, and the heart opening, that wonderful heart opening. like the lotus, and see the lotus within. And we know now scientifically that there are as many as brain cells in the heart as in the brain. And so it is very important that love and law working together. Law is the thing itself, the only thing there is, and love is the passion that inspires us to move forward in that yes, when we know that we are being divinely guided and provided for. So the heart opening and then going down, 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 down the back and the front, relaxing the solar plexus and the vertebrae, down, 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 down into the root chakra. And I just remembered my earphones. And down into the root chakra. Down into the root chakra. And then down, 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 all the way around, just relaxing in, just relaxing in. And have that energy just come and fill from the east to the west, to the top, to the bottom, to the north, to the south, to the high, to the low, all around us, that energy. It's like this wonderful light that literally just enlightens and just brightens us as we direct that energy going in and through and as us at its very highest. As I begin to talk about compassion. And so, as I mentioned, shame has a big part of holding us back. Shame from the past, or shame we don't even know sometimes why we are the way we are. I do know I can tell you a story about my first husband's mother, who was alcoholic addict, and it's bless her heart. Um, Although she was not kind to me, but I understood when my ex-husband was a very, very, very small boy. He was in Boy Scouts. She was the scout leader, and a car speeding up a hill in Long Beach. They were coming from a scout meeting. She pushed all the kids out of the way, and it hit her, and so her body was crushed. And that had to have been in the 40s, and so therefore, or the 40s or 50s, and so, well, early 50s, late 40s, and she lived a life of pain on meds and everything else. But she would, no matter how out of it she was, her house was always clean because she wanted everybody to think that she was perfect. So that outer thing of being perfect is sometimes what is runs us and makes us who we are, and it's daunting. And the problem is that when we don't claim our inner shame and embrace it, we can't let it go because it claims us. And so, by embracing the shame, the guilt, whatever it is that holds you back, if you don't name it and claim it and wrap your arms around it and just say, I understand, I love you, I am compassionate for you, and I feel what you're feeling because I am you, then you can't feel compassion for anybody else. For compassion is that feeling, nature, and understanding of when someone else is hurting. And so when you embrace it, it's the only way you can let it go. It is the dark shadow, the shadow of our own selves constantly chasing us. And it will continue to chase us until we turn around and hug it and love it, and then we can let it go. But you can't let go of anything that continues to chase you. So it is one of the ways that it goes into our way of wanting to be perfect. Because if we're perfect, nobody knows we're hurting. Nobody knows we're in shame. Nobody can look beyond the Clorox concept that everything is perfect and clean, and you are a clean slate as well. So, what we know is that when we meet people, a lot of times, as I say, they have this wonderful persona, this wonderful shiny persona. And then in that shiny persona, you realize you don't see all the suitcases, all the baggage behind them. You just see them. and they have all of this baggage that they're dragging behind them, and a lot of that baggage is shame. And so perfectionism is not the same thing as striving to do your best. It is trying to hide that which you are ashamed of and don't feel good about from your past. And so it's really like that 20-ton brick that you're carrying around, or those 50 bags you're lugging with you every time. And it actually, in our perfectionism, we think it is saving us and making us feel better, but it actually continues to to cultivate the shame within us instead of cultivating that is what we really are. And we continue to take flight until we turn around and look at it. So, self perfectionism is not self improvement. It is just the opposite. It is perfectionism is truly in the divine world. It's finding out who you are, taking those risks beyond looking bad, good from the outside world. It's stepping up in who you are, stating who you are clearly, and then going um, with that soul that knows that you are like unlike nobody else, and that your gift and bringing out that gift in you. So it can be paralyzing sometimes when we want to be perfect because we're afraid, oh my God, if we don't go out, we don't look perfect, or we don't say the right things, or whatever it is that we find that is perfect. If our houses don't look good, if our children don't look good, if they are saying different things than we want them to say, all of that is perfectionism. And when you grow up hushing your children and saying, you're making us look bad, then that continues that shame, that shameful idea within them. So honoring them and saying, well, this is great that you're doing this, and have you thought of another way of doing something really helps. So perfectionism is tied to shame, and it is also self destructive. And how it is self destructive, and it also is addictive. The more we do anything, we make it a habit, and then the habit becomes more and more self destructive when it comes to perfectionism and shame. And the reason that is anything in your mind that you do those, we now know that we can change our brains by changing our thinking. And how we change our thinking is going within, finding out who we are, releasing those habits that hold us back and make us very, very unhappy with our own selves and our lives. And so when we are simply self destructive, there is no such thing as finding perfection. We would always be seeking perfection. And it's addictive because it invariably does experience highs when you think you've reached that level of perfection, when your looks are at their top, or because you've done great work for them, or your house is its best, or your kids are all bright and shining and they're saying all the right things and the neighbors think they're great. then all of those things are the outer. It is never the inner. Our wonderful Lisa Coffey was talking yesterday in her Vedanta class about the only thing we have that is truly who we are is that divine spirit. That is our rock. And she used an example of an object. It was a coffee cup, and she said this coffee cup was an idea in someone's mind. And in that idea, then it was created by the visionary who saw that coffee cup and then had it designed and then had it made. And that coffee cup will serve its purpose, but eventually it will no longer exist. But what does exist is who we are, the visionary, the divine spirit, the beloved, who is the God that really relies and is and resides within each and every one of us. So, in this, there is no perfect, because you would be striving constantly for something that is the outer world and not developing the inner world. So, to overcome perfectionism, we need to acknowledge our vulnerabilities, and not only acknowledge them, but explore them. Don't run for them. And as I said before, embrace them.
And the process of embracing our imperfections, or what we perceive are our imperfections, is one of the truest gifts and the greatest courage we will ever have. And builds compassion and connection with others. Because when you are in that outer world of trying to be perfect, then you look only for the perfect in others. You don't see the good in others at the depth of their soul. And so the perfectionism only emerges when they're feeling particularly um, um, vulnerable. That is perfectionism. When your true self meets their true self in this wonderful world. And so perfectionism can be compulsive, chronic, and debilitating, and it is very, very similar to addiction. So, like most people, I struggle with the body image and the always complicated relationship with food. I've always had a complicated relationship with food since I can remember. And I grew up with a mom and dad who were from the Depression. My mom, not so much, but my dad, the things he took great pride in were the accomplishments he had for the family, and that's very common. Look at the good I've done for my family, and so food on the table, desserts on the table, and so the things that he would always be so happy with. We were so fortunate. We grew up um, beyond middle class, and we had a pool. We had everything. We had horses, pool, blah blah blah. And so the things that made him happiest is when we were nice and brown in the summer, which we now know causes skin cancer, and that we were happily eating sugars and desserts and everything else. So when I was young, I now know I have a sugar addiction, but I didn't know then. It was like the minute I had sugar, I couldn't get enough. And so, what I have in my healthy goals doesn't match what I think a perfect body image is. And so, instead of embracing my vulnerabilities, I've run from them for years. And so, uh, what happened is that self-talk was, if I do one thing wrong in my diet, then I'm feeling fat and ugly and ashamed and how I look, and I need to be different than I am right now in that moment. And when I have um, healthy choices and healthy feelings, is I honor myself. I honor myself, and I am mindful every moment of what is good for me, and that I am feeling better and better every day with every good choice that I make. And it is not about being bad or shameful or guilty. It's just taking and understanding what is healthy and striving for better self talk and saying, I love you no matter whether you had that piece of cake or not. And the next time you make a choice, it'll be a better choice. But never shaming yourself, because that takes away from you being compassionate not only with yourself but for others. So when we can feel and define who we are in our compassion, then we stop suffering, and then we can also look at others in that compassionate way, and that we have that connection and that common humanity, and being mindful of being balanced and approaching people with a balanced attitude and feelings never suppresses who you are nor suppresses them. It gives them that door for opening, that who they are is so much more important than their house and how they look in that moment or anything else. The desire to be with someone is their authenticity, and feeling that authentic self, that your authentic self is reaching out to their authentic self. My friend Jenny, also, I always feel like if anybody visits me, everything has to be perfect. And my friend Jenny, and my sister of the heart, always says, Pam, I came to see you. I came to visit you, not your house. And that brings me right back to what is really important here in friendship. So there is a reservoir of kindness and compassion that we can build upon and then extend to others, because our children also in self-compassion are watching us. They're watching us, and they're mirroring what we are and what we feel. And the greatest thing they can feel is our authenticity. Not that I have to clean the bathroom. I can't hug you because you've fallen. I have to clean the bathroom. So those are the things that are very important. And how that light gets into us, and so many, is by being open and receptive. And I also saying that we are, so when we're connected in meditation, in talks like this one and other ways, that is when we can change ourselves, when we awaken to the greatness of who we are, because we are the beloved in whom God is so well pleased. And yet, how can you feel that love, that compassion for self and others unless you open up to it? So it helps me to wake up in the morning and say, today I'm going to believe that I am enough. I am coming from my authentic self. I love myself so much, and therefore I can love you. I love myself so much, as a child song that we used to sing in church. And I love myself the way I am. And it's easy to love you when I know that the perfect me is who I am, and I can love you in that perfection too. So, knowing all of that, I'm going to end with some affirmations right here as we go out into our day to day, knowing that God is, I am, all is good. So, just as we relax in, let's go out with some affirmations. I am open and receptive to knowing that God is, I am. And my honest conversations about my vulnerability and shame are opening new doors to an expansive, self-compassionate, compassionate, loving way. And in this self-compassion, that opening for the creation of authentic, meaningful relationships is unfolding right here and right now. What I know is shame and guilt are universal, but I have that capacity for compassion, empathy, and human connection. It lies within me. And as I look at shame, I shine that light onto the shame and the guilt in that shadow of the self. It enlightens me, opens my heart, my mind, and I am more compassionate, more empathetic, and I feel more connected in so many ways. I am courageously talking about what I believe in, talking about the pain sometimes when I feel safe, and letting go of knowing that that pain has to exist. I am open and receptive as I hide in my openness and my as I step away from my fear and my darkness. I talk about my greatness, letting go of my shame. And I let go of that shame, and the more I let go and open up to the good that I am, the less it controls my life, and the more open I am to loving myself. I am lovable. I am bringing compassion into the light as I deepen my feeling of worthiness and affirming that I am truly lovable, likable, and I belong on this planet. And I am knowing that the stakes that the courage I am experiencing right now, stepping up and out and being my authentic self, in that truthful self, are high, but I have the courage, the spiritual muscle, and the wisdom to let go. I am embracing my compassion, of the compassion of who I am. I am fully aware and open and vulnerable when I am sharing my own compassion and my own stories. I am compassionate when others are telling me their stories, for there is that camaraderie now. I don't have to be afraid. I am open and vulnerable and authentic. I now know I am doing the best that I know how to do. And all of the behaviors I've labeled are bad, I'm embracing and loving myself unconditionally. And in my self-compassion, I am worthy. I am developing relationships based in love, belonging, and knowing that God is, I am, and I am my amness. I amness. I am loved beyond measure, and I am led to know the greatest way I may embrace and create my own self-compassion as I embrace my vulnerabilities and I courageously speak my truth to power with an open heart and love open, loving arms. And so as I leave you today, just know that you are the beloved in whom God is so well pleased. And God is the power and the presence, whatever you want to call it, Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, the thing itself. It is that power that lies within each and every one of you. And so I say, peace out, namaste, have a blessed day. I'll see you on the flip side tomorrow. Mwah. And by the way, we're starting midweek spiritual uplift talks, and I'm going to kick them off, our practitioners and our ministers, and they're Thursday nights at 7, and mine is Halloween. And so my talk is Hallelujah Halloween. Join me. Mwah. See you tomorrow. Bye.